Welcome back to Ground Rules, where we go beyond the numbers to understand what's really happening across South Africa's agricultural markets. This week, there is a fascinating contrast developing in the livestock market. We've got beef carcass prices that are under serious pressure, yet weaner calf and store lamb prices are holding surprisingly firm. The question is, how long can that continue? We will also look at why a possible El Niño should already be part of producers' planning, as well as what's happening across sheep, goats, and poultry. And finally, some better news for the pork industry. GroundRules and AMT have joined forces to make this trusted agricultural market information available in English. Follow AMT for the Afrikaans market updates and stay right here with GroundRules for the English market updates. All of this supported by AMT's trusted agricultural database, as well as the market insights. Now, before we dive into the numbers, we'd really like to hear from you. What's the one agricultural topic you'd like us to unpack in more depth? You know, these videos are designed to make your decision making a little easier. So if you're finding them useful, hit the like button, subscribe, leave us a comment. Simply give us a thumbs up. It really does help us grow this community and create more of the information that you would like to see. As I promised, diving straight back into the markets, starting off with our cattle. The average weaner calf price for calves weighing between 200 and 250 kilograms declined slightly by 0.6% last week to reach 48.72 Rand per kilogram. Despite that small decline, calf prices continue holding at relatively strong levels, even while slaughter prices are coming under significant pressure. The top 40% average declined to 51.02 Rand per kilogram, while the top 10% actually increased to 54.35 Rand per kilo. Looking provincially, the Free State averaged 50.97 Rand per kilo, the Western Cape approximately 43.55 Rand per kilogram. Now, the bigger movement was in slaughter cattle. The national A2, A3 carcass price, or supers, fell sharply for the second consecutive week, dropping to 66.29 Rand per kilogram. C-grade prices also declined to 58.43 Rand per kilogram. If the supers follow a similar seasonal trend to last year, prices could move even lower during August as well as September, before potentially then beginning to recover again in October and November. So what is driving the current decline? We've got more cattle entering the market, including calves coming off crop residues, and that additional supply is weighing on the slaughter prices. That also means that the current decline could potentially be temporary. We see weaner calf prices may soften, go weaker slightly from here as well, but could strengthen again around October as the demand builds up towards the end of the year. However, as we did mention last week, producers should already be planning for another risk. If El Niño develops strongly, feed prices could increase while grazing conditions deteriorate. So do not wait until feed is expensive and grazing is already under pressure before making a plan. Start working through those scenarios now. Moving over to our sheep and our lamb, the store lamb market actually moved higher last week. The average store lamb price increased 2% to reach 58.16 Rand per kilogram. Provincial prices were as follows. We've got the Free State approximately 61.24 Rand per kilo. Northern Cape 51.42 and Mpumalanga 61.39 per kilogram. Heavier slaughter lambs weighing more than 32 kilograms are currently trading around 55.82 per kilogram. The A2, A3 sheep carcass price declined to 105.67 per kilo, while the C2, C3 price fell to 78.60 per kilogram. My view remains that we've probably moved beyond the high point for the year. As more animals reach the market and demand softens, both the feeder lamb and the slaughter lamb prices could remain under pressure through to the end of the year. And again, we need to bring El Niño into the conversation. Some of South Africa's major sheep producing areas could be hit particularly hard by the drier conditions. So sheep producers should start preparing now for what that scenario could mean for grazing, feed requirements, as well as marketing decisions. Moving over to wool, there haven't been any new wool auctions locally or in Australia, but auctions resume again next week. Hopefully the market has managed to hold relatively firm during the break. One factor that could create some pressure is the stronger rand, which may weigh slightly on local wool prices. We will take a closer look at the auction results next week and see how the market then has responded. When we move over to goats, the goat prices were mixed again this week. Large goats increased to 48 Rand 4 cents per kilogram. Small goats declined to 67 Rand 77 cents. And medium goats dropped to 57 Rand 9 cents per kilo. Goat ewes eased to 60 Rand 54 cents per kilogram. And remember that our goat prices typically peak around the beginning of spring and then begin to decline as we move closer towards Christmas. But there are some interesting differences between categories. Looking at the price patterns over the past 2 years, we do see large goat prices could begin to come under pressure from around October, while the goat ewes and the goat lamb prices may only begin to fall more sharply from November. Whether that same pattern then will repeat itself this year remains to be seen. So this is definitely one that we just need to keep watching out for. Moving over to poultry, we saw that our chicken prices declined also again last week. The frozen ex-abattoir chicken prices fell another 1% to reach 32 Rand 9 cents per kilogram. Fresh chicken declined to 35 Rand 63 cents per kilo, while the IQF prices fell to 32 Rand 32 cents. The outlook remains that chicken prices could begin to move into an upward trend again from September through to December, supported by stronger year-end demand. The egg market also declined last week. The national average price for graded eggs declined to 22 Rand 90 cents per dozen. Ungraded eggs eased to 16 Rand 88 cents per dozen. And pork, finally some better news. Now, pork prices are finally beginning to stabilize. Unfortunately, this comes at the same time as higher maize prices, which are placing obviously renewed pressure on the producer margins. Part of the recent weakness in pork prices was caused by a large number of animals entering the market at roughly the same time following vaccinations. That sudden increase in supply created significant pressure, but I think the worst may now be behind us. The large increase in supply appears to have passed, and the pork prices could begin moving higher again through the end of the year. Last week, we saw bacon prices increasing 1% to reach 29 Rand 29 cents per kilogram. The pork prices increased 0.2% to reach 30 Rand 48 cents, and the sausage pig prices increased approximately 1% to reach 23 Rand 60 cents per kilogram. So it is still early, but at the least the direction is beginning to look more positive. As we move over to our feed, we've got inland Lucerne prices, which were relatively stable last week. Grade 1 Lucerne was 3,800 Rand per ton. Grade 2 Lucerne was 3,400 Rand per ton. And the premium inland Lucerne went down to 4,200 Rand per ton. The prices are beginning to ease, with the first new cuttings expected to reach the market soon. And that additional supply should gradually place more downward pressure on the Lucerne prices. Chop prices, however, increased again last week to 3,150 Rand per ton. There is still significant resistance to prices at these levels, which could eventually force them slightly lower. For now, though, the prices continue to hold, and much will depend on what happens to white maize prices. So that's one of the key factors that we need to keep watching. For this week's ground rules takeaway, if we put everything together, the livestock market appears to be entering a fairly sensitive phase. Slaughter prices are under pressure, while weaner calf and store lamb prices remain surprisingly resilient. The question is just how long that gap can hold. At the same time, we are finally beginning to see some more encouraging signs in the pork market, but perhaps the biggest risk still is ahead of us is not just the livestock prices. It is the combination of the feed costs as well as a possible El Niño. Producers shouldn't only be looking at what the animals are worth today. Start planning now for a scenario where feed becomes more expensive and grazing conditions could deteriorate and margins possibly might start to tighten quite rapidly. Think about what you need to feed. Think about which animals you would market first. Think about your carrying capacity and think about the price point at which the numbers start or stop making sense. Thank you for joining us for another Ground Rules Livestock Market update. And remember to tell us in the comment sections what agricultural topics you would like Ground Rules to unpack in more depth. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and remember the best farming decisions always start with solid ground rules.